down. Game number 9 is upon us.
That's right. This is going to be the last starting load lobby.
Whoa.
That's right. Of this particular matchup.
Last starting load lobby.
Hey, and we are on Guangali Beach. We haven't seen that today.
That water is OP.
That water is OP.
I believe we're asking David Kim to take water out of the game after it nearly took me out earlier. But here we go. Game number 9 on Guangali Beach. On the left-hand side, it's not really upper or lower, slightly lower left-hand side. Slightly below the midline of the left side is going to be our red Protoss player. He's won 3 in a row. No, 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
To bring his team back to match point, it is Team Gravity Serenity.
And in the top right-ish corner, representing Team Complexity Academy, coming out trying to secure the victory after his team went up 4-2, it is Best Friends.
And all those probes that decided to go have a bite of that mineral patch in the back there. The weird thing is that mineral patch looks much bigger than the one in front of it, does it not?
It does. But they have the same.
They do. It's broken.
Graphics OP.
Graphics OP, you're right. It's probably just the shading, but alas, nevertheless, it's kind of pointless, but I'll do it anyway. I'll put up the scoreboard. It is 4-4, my friend.
That's right.
All the boxes are eliminated.
And all the chips are on the table. There is no holding back at this point. Both these players have to put out their very best in order to try and secure the victory for their team.
Yeah, and so the pressure has been on Serenity the past few games, but now that pressure shifts to Complexity as they've, I don't want to say petered away, but they've lost their advantage. So now Best Friends needs to come out and win the game, or it's going to be a huge upswing for Team Gravity.
Yeah, and one has to wonder whether or not Serenity is working off of a lot of momentum right now, or if endurance is coming into play at this point. I can see it going either way, frankly.
And we've seen that before and mentioned that in the last series, and it really is a factor. I mean, envision yourself playing. I mean, I would say the equivalent of 3 to 4 high-end semifinal tournament games versus equally skilled grandmasters as like 20 ladder matches in a row, as far as the intensity and pressure versus just everything else, and it's just exhausting.
But this is what these players train for. That's what they practice for, these types of situations. So hopefully that training is paying off, and that Serenity is going to be able to keep up his momentum, keep up his energy, as this is the game that is the most important of any of the ones that he's had to play.
And equally, we have to keep up our energy, as this is the second match we've cast today. We've still got one more, Team YMCMB versus the winner of this. Best Friends does get in just in time to see the Cybernetics Core finish, Warp Gate going down, and a Stalker being chrono boosted. So are we going to see another real quick aggression out of one of these teams, or are we going to go into a more straightaway macro play?
Well, one would hope that you wouldn't chrono boost out a Stalker and then not use it.
Well, I mean, you can chrono boost the Stalker out just to deny some scouting.
That's true. But he's also chrono boosting out this Mothership Core, so I'd anticipate a little bit of harassment with the Stalker Mothership Core combo.
Yeah, and we've seen some players get a couple Stalkers out in the Mothership Core and just head over to the other person's base just to see if if they're doing something a bit on the greedy side. You can really take advantage of that. If not, you can just kind of run on back, because Stalkers be pretty fast.
They are pretty fast. And now we do see that Best Friends is moving a Stalker up to the middle of the map where it will meet up with the Zealot.
There is also a probe of Best Friends right down here in the water. Hey, look, there's a shark down here. As we stop paying attention to the game at all, there's a shark down in the water. That's
Serenity has put down a Twilight Council, so it looks like Stalkers is the name of the game, but Best Friends is putting down a pylon. Serenity does see that right away, and he's going to try and engage that.
Quite the conspicuous pylon, as it's right in the middle of the path that ends up being canceled, so he does get the money back. Oh, but he tries to put on another one. These Stalkers are going to catch up to this probe and end up taking it out. So Best Friends wanting to put on some pressure, but the pressure of Serenity is going to be a little too much.
And Blink has been started on Serenity's part of the map. So he's going to be getting those Stalker numbers up. He has 3 walking their way over to the base of Best Friends currently.
Oh, but Best Friends putting down a Robo, so if he can get time to get an Immortal out, then this Blink pressure will be not quite as effective, but it's still got have some time to cook and process and shine up the edges. Water dripping down my arm.
These 3 stalkers are putting pressure on this Nexus building in the natural, and Best Friends does not have the units to engage this just yet. He's got to be really careful with that. 2 more stalkers are being warped, or 2 stalkers and a sentry are being warped in, and now he feels like he has the force to be able to try and deal with this.
If he can kill any of these stalkers, that would be a huge blow to Serenity, but I mean, he's not going to go all into this blink because he's got a robo coming down behind it.
And Best Friend's choosing to get an observer first, chrono boosting that out, wants to see the positioning of his opponent, trying to see exactly what type of tech is coming out.
I think that's an okay move, considering that blink is still only half done, so he still has time to get an immortal out if he starts it here pretty quick before this. Well, he doesn't have time to get it out, but at least has time to have it involved in the first engagement. Oh, but he's supply blocked. Only momentarily, though, as Pylon finishes, that immortal is going to be coming out. Is he going to chrono boost it? Yes, he is.
Best Friends did try and get a hallucinated Phoenix out of his base, but those stalkers were able to intercept it, so there was no scouting of the base of Serenity. As these stalkers are rallying together, this is going to be a big push. Mothership Core is with it.
Yeah, we saw him do this in one of the previous games, and it was quite effective. But it depends on where he blinks up. I mean, there's a lot of forces down here at the natural, but his Zealot coming out, and he's going to spot the Mothership Core, so he's going to know what's coming.
And that Immortal has finished, too, so he's going to have that in his corner. But blinking right up, and then a time warp on the ramp. This is going to be really hard for Best Friends at this point.
That Immortal getting some pot shots in on those stalkers, but only 1 shot per stalker.
No, the Mothership Core just walks right over these stalkers and gets taken out.
But now Serenity is in a bit of a tough situation, as he is in a bit of a corner back here with these stalkers. Oh, but the Immortal moves away, allowing the stalkers to come out. Poor positioning by Best Friends. Oh, nice force field. So now the stalkers are going to have to run around until the cooldown of blink comes off.
And that it does. And he is walking on out of there, rallying up back to his pylon, and he's choosing to engage again. That time warp goes down and is now blinking forward aggressively, but those 2 Immortal, he's got to be so careful of those because those could do big damage to these stalkers.
He's going to take out the... Oh, he does manage to save the Mothership Core. If he could just poke down the stalkers here with the stalkers, that Mothership Core can actually do quite a bit, but now he's pushing the army away. That was a pretty fancy blink there. Did you see that? I was thinking that maybe he would push the army and then blink up here with these stalkers, but now blink has the cooldown, but he's going to come up with 4, so not committing to this, but just getting a few in there.
And now he's going to force Best Friends to make choices here as he's able to walk in either direction, and I think that Best Friends realizes that that's not the entirety of the force.
Oh, walking these stalkers right into the Immortals, loses 2, almost 3.
And that was great decision making by Best Friends there. He did take some probe damage because of it, but he was able to not lose his natural. Wow, Serenity really getting a bit maybe over-eager with these stalkers here, as it looked like he just kind of walked those right into the Immortals, and good decision making by Best Friends having those there, realizing what was going on. But the probe count is telling the story, as Best Friends only has 20 compared to the 33 of Serenity.
Wow. He has killed 15 total workers, and now a big blink up into the main, taking out a ton of probes.
Yeah, and it's just so hard for him to deal with these blink stalkers. He keeps putting down these great time warps, and Best Friend's forced to walk right through them.
Time warp is probably one of the coolest things that they thought of to add into the Protoss arsenal.
It is a really cool ability, that's for sure.
Now there is an observer of Best Friends here, so he can tell the positioning of Serenity, but Serenity's going to have to get out of this behind it, because the number of Immortals, I mean, he's got 4 Immortals now, so those are stacking up, so the effectiveness of this blink is going to be diminishing here.
But he's doing the damage that he needs to. Best Friends isn't able to get the probe counts that he'd like, and he's at the same time not able to get the tech that he needs to because of it.
So you come in here and snipe a pylon, nice blink back. Oh, but he wasn't able to get it, didn't want to sacrifice any more stalkers.
And that observer of Best Friends not being super effective is it's not really rallied on anything in particular. So, but now these Immortals are pushing forward. There's nothing here but the stalkers now. There is no Mothership Core to aid it.
This is a really strong force for Best Friends. Let's not diminish the effectiveness of these Immortals against blink stalkers. They're so good. And he does have some sentries in there, so if he makes... Oh, yeah, he's got 2 sentries in there, so if he makes a bad blink, he can trap some really easily.
Serenity has brought forward an observer as opposed to the Mothership Core, so he still will have that blink capability. Getting himself a little bit cornered, but he can blink up past those rocks if he absolutely needs to, and that's exactly what he's going to do. But he might lose that observer if he's not careful.
Run! He does have the pylon there to reinforce, but if we look back at the units, it's 30 probes to 48, so Best Friends is catching up a bit.
He's also getting a Dark Shrine, though, so he's feeling a little bit cornered and wants to try and get some economic damage done to his opponent.
Serenity does have a robot as he's producing Immortals of his own, but if he doesn't detect that this Dark Shrine's going to be coming down and produce a... he does have an Observer up here, so no, that's... okay, yeah, that's Serenity's Observer, so he is going to be fairly safe against DTs in his army. Nice split by Best Friends, too. He's got keeping a couple... Oh, is he going to do an Immortal pickup? Oh.
And look at that, blinking straight into 2 Immortals, losing 2 Stalkers immediately. Those Stalkers are now cornered between a Rock and an Immortal.
One and the same, my friend. But did he see that Dark Shrine coming up? That Warp Prism is headed over to the base of Serenity. Did not see the Dark Shrine. So he's going to be warping in 2 DTs, picking him up, and then dropping him in Serenity's base. Is there any detection back there? No.
So this could prove to be very effective. There are 3 Immortals in the back. He's expecting some kind of counterattack, but definitely not from DTs, it would appear.
Oh, and he's making another Immortal, too, and not another Observer. These gateways are in Serenity's base, not turned into warp gates. DTs do take one swipe at him, and in the mineral line they go.
So all those probes are trying to rally and get out of there. There are some decent kills happening, and I think that Observer is on its way back, but it is a little bit away.
DT not being very effective. It's not being microed. It's just taking pot shots at the units, not at the... Oh, but... So maybe not the most effective DTs in the world. They did get... He does have a total of 7 workers killed. Nice blink by the Stalkers, trapping that DT also.
But there is a robotics bay, and it is researching extended thermal lance, while Blink for Best Friends is just about to finish up.
I think the armies of these 2 players have fairly well equalized now. It's 3 Immortals against the number of 4 for Best Friends. So if they come head to head, it'll really be a decision of micro. And he does have this Warp Prism here, so he can't reinforce easily, but here we go.
That's right, 2. Oh, great force fields. Is able to pick off one of those Immortals. That's going to be huge. And 2 sentries go down as well.
Great engagement there by Best Friends. That's exactly what he needed to do to keep himself back in this, is those force fields trapping and taking down the Immortal numbers, but soon a Colossus is going to be on the field.
Yeah, he's going to have to be really careful when that happens. Mothership Core is coming down, getting ready to put the Photon Overcharge on this expansion. And Best Friend is warping in DTs on the high ground and Stalkers on the low ground. That's a great positioning for that Warp Prism to be able to do both.
Yeah, there are cannons there now, so those DTs aren't going to get a lot done.
Photon Overcharge does go down. And that Colossus is being targeted. Blink forward. It is going to be falling, but at what cost? So many Stalkers are being killed.
He just blinked into so many Zealots and Immortals there. Now the aggressive blink from Serenity coming back to make him pay for that mistake, taking out 1 Immortal, now 2.
Oh, and he's going to lose a lot in this engagement.
That Mothership Core there doing a lot of damage in itself.
Yep, continuing to warp in Stalkers. Does blink to the high ground, but he's going to lose that Warp Prism.
Oh, nice blink to follow from Serenity as well. Oh, he's just... Gosh, this game is so back and forth. Serenity putting on the pressure first. Oh, aggressive blink out. He's going to lose all these Stalkers now.
But behind this, Best Friends was able to put down a Nexus in a 3rd base position, is continuing to try to get that probe count up, but now he needs to rebuild his entire army, as he did lose a lot of units there.
There are a smattering of pylons around here for Serenity, which will allow him to have a quick counterattack to the 3rd base here. And he does have Zealot Charge coming down as well as more Colossus. So, I mean, the fact that he's got Colossus out is going to be a big factor. Looks like he's going to begin remote mining this 3rd base here before he even puts down a Nexus.
Well, his main is mostly mined out, so that is definitely a good idea. The Observer is going to go over this army and be immediately taken out, so Best Friends has to know that there is some aggression coming. There is a decent-sized force here, but it's just, it's not as teched up as he would have liked. There is only 1 Colossus here for Serenity, but lots and lots of Zealots.
Look at that army.
Oh, the 2nd Colossus is coming forward, too.
The army supply is 20 in favor of Serenity, which makes sense considering that Best Friends did put down a base earlier, so Serenity teching to those Colossus and getting more units out, but there are DTs being warped in, another Warp Prism and Zealot Charge of his own.
And Best Friend's army is a little bit out of position to be able to defend his 3rd base, and I think that Serenity may take advantage of that. Yep, he's walking. Well, looks like he's going to try and rally up.
And Templar Archives coming down as well, so behind this he's going to be able to get more, get Archons as well.
And sure enough, he does see that there is a third base over there. He's heading straight for that as Best Friend's army is out of position to be able to deal with this. All the probes are trying to run away, but there is nothing to run to. And this Nexus is certainly going to fall.
And he could, he's got full energy on this mothership as well, so he could recall out at any point if he gets in a bad spot. But Best Friend's seeing that, well, gotta just go for it, and he's got probes all over the place here. So this counterattack isn't really gonna be in the best interest of, but no, he turns back around to engage.
And force fields the army out a little bit. Those Colossus coming forward to break a few of those, and it looks like Best Friends is just trying to find some position to try and engage this. Zealots moving forward, and the Immortals are dropping very quickly. They're not being defended at all. The Archon trying to do what it can, but there's the GG.
GG from Complexity's Best Friend, so that is going to be quite the story to tell his friends when he gets home. Team Gravity's Serenity comes out winning 3 in a row, while Gravity is down 5-2 to bring them the win.
That's right. So we are going to see Young Money, Cash Money, Billionaires going up against Team Gravity in our finals.
Well, that's certainly not what I predicted.
Not me either, but it is very cool as we can see that Gravity and Complexity Academy were very evenly matched. Serenity just pulling out some really great games, playing very aggressively and very solidly throughout the games that he was part of. So he was able to lock that down for his team, but he's got quite the feat ahead of him now as he's going to be going into this next match, which are going to be the finals. And Young Money, Cash Money, Billionaires played hours ago at this point.
Yeah.
They've had time to rest, whereas Gravity is going to have to jump right into this.
Yep. And, maybe they'll take that